Hey everyone, welcome to season 4 of BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Nikki.
Thank you so much for joining us for season 4. We're so excited to be here. And since we took a much needed break from our bookish antics, we're going to kick off season 4 by talking about everything we've read so far, starting all the way back in January until now, the time of this recording. So we're just kind of like going to talk about what the heck have we been reading? Like, what's been going on? It's been quite the year so far.
It has been. I had a really good January, February, and then March got slow. I feel like January, February, I really boosted myself up. I was feeling fresh. I was reading all the books that I wanted to read last year that I didn't have time to read because we were doing podcast stuff, or I was in school and just, all of those things. And now I'm slowing down. I'm getting more into my 3-4 books a month thing instead of 20 books a month, which is excessive. But yeah, what genre have you been reading the most? I think I know.
Well, romance, obviously, but I've been reading a lot of fantasy too. So it's pretty close. Yeah, and I have been reading a lot of you could say kind of both, like romantasy or paranormal romance, I guess. Yeah. I've read quite a few Omegaverse so far, which I love.
Nice.
But it's just fun, okay? It's fun, so I like it. But yeah, I don't know. I ran into a friend at work the other day, and he was like, so how many books do you read a month? And I was like, well, it depends on the month. And he said, well, what did you read last month? And I said, well, last month, because I think this was March, I only read 2 books, which is really low for me. And I said to him, yes, I only read 2, but in January I read 20 books. And he was like, what? But yeah, I also I read a lot of picture books and stuff because sometimes I like to read picture books before bed to try to calm the mind, or if I'm stressed or whatever, it's easy through the Libby app and I just read some picture books.
It's not like you read 20 novels.
No. Yeah. I mean, some people do. I haven't.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah. That's a lot. My eyes get tired. My brain gets tired sometimes. Literally.
Yeah.
What about you? What have you been reading a lot of so far?
I have been the mystery thriller queen this year. I mean, I always loved mystery thrillers, but I feel like I start every year on a different trend. Last year, it was fantasy. I was reading so much fantasy at the beginning of last year. And this year, I don't know, I just picked up the right book at the right time, I guess. I started off January reading every Riley Sager book I could get my hands on. And that really just kind of blasted me off into murder.
On the Orient Express?
Yeah. Actually, funny you say that because I have read that one, but I did read an Agatha Christie book, The Pale Horse, and I DNF'd it. So.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah. I will pick it up again eventually, but I was just not feeling the writing style at that time. I would read a page and be like, I have no idea what just happened, and then read it again and be like, I don't even remember what was going on in the last chapter, so why am I doing this?
I've never read any of her books, just plays.
I really, really loved And Then There Were None. That's probably one of her most famous ones. Okay. It has a really torrid history with the title, too, that I'm not going to talk about on here because it has bad words that I'm not going to say, but you can look it up.
Okay.
And it's crazy town.
Wow.
But yeah, just murder for me. Detective fiction. I don't know. Just really getting my goat.
Well, I thought I had been reading a lot of mysteries so far too, and then I looked at my books and I'm like, no, because I read so many picture books early on because I was stressed, couldn't read, whatever. I should also, well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but my dog passed away at the beginning of the year, so I was not reading at all. So I really needed those picture books. So, you do what you gotta do. But I thought I was reading a lot of mystery, and then I looked, I only read those 2 Truly Devious books, which I loved, but I hadn't read any
That's
others.
funny. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were talking in March or something, and you were like, "Yeah, I've been reading a lot of those too," and I'm like, "She hasn't been putting any of them on her Goodreads," but I'm like,
Right?
"Who am I to say, no,
Oh.
you're not? I don't know what you're reading."
Well, I also, how could I forget, because I hated the book so much, my first book of the year was a Frida McFadden book.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, I had never read anything by her. And I actually was somewhere and someone told me that they loved that book, and I had to like forcibly stop myself from being like, are you serious? I hated it so much because I don't know, I feel like some people might think that's rude.
Yeah,
I just want to talk.
I've only read one Frida McFadden book, and it was basically the Verity dupe. I don't know which one came first, so don't come for me if she wrote her book before Colleen Hoover wrote Verity, or Colleen Hoover, however the hell you say her name. But I swear, this was like, what's that Robert Frost poem? Like,
I took
two roads diverge in a yellow wood, but they didn't diverge. They just stayed on the same path. And then every once in a while, they'd take like a little dead end street to a different kind of plot or topic, and then they'd come right back. And then the books continued almost exactly the same. It was weird.
Oh my
But
god.
anyway,
You don't know what it was called?
it was, I can tell you what it was called.
Because I read Lie to Me.
It was not that.
Okay.
Frida McFadden.
Oh, sorry. No, that's not even what it is. It's Never Lie. I don't even know what it's called either. That's how bad it was. Like,
it was. Wow, I can't even see it at all. I swear I don't make this shit up.
Why would you, like...
The Wife Upstairs.
The Wife Upstairs? Isn't that where Verity was?
Yeah. Yes. It is.
Isn't that where that lady in Jane Eyre was? I haven't read it.
She was like behind a wall though.
Yeah, true.
I think they were also upstairs, but she was like the wife adjacent to the room everyone else was in.
You know, I wouldn't love it, but I kind of would. I would like relish in being the crazy lady behind the wall. I'd be like, try to spook everyone. But not if I had to be like stuck there, you know? Just a thought.
Only if you could do it when you wanted to do it.
Yes, like for funsies.
I agree. Your side job.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've only read like 3 mysteries, I think, so far this year, which I was so surprised by because I thought I read more. But
Truly Devious is a great mystery series to read. So
it's so good, and they helped me get out of a slump. Like they're just so cozy. I love them.
I know,
Nikki
and they're so fast
the ebooks. Yes.
Oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah. It was great. Thanks. I have 2 left. I gotta get back to it. I like started The Box in the Woods, and then I got distracted, and I thought, okay, well, I'm still at the very beginning, so I'll just go back to it later. So
yeah,
but
definitely.
Yeah, I love it. I love them so much. But yeah,
me too.
Did you have any reading goals this year?
I don't have a lot of reading goals. I set my standard 60 books on Goodreads. I'm at 31 books right now.
Ooh, that's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Feels good to know I'll complete the goal this year because last year I was hustling at the end of the year to get that goal. Just because I was telling myself, you are not a failure and you can read enough graphic novels to get to 60. And I think I ended up going to like 65 or something. Like I really pulled through in the end. But
yes.
No, I just 60 books. I really like, I don't know, thinking about what I have, I do want to read a few older Stephen King books this year. I have some on my shelf and I look at them all the time and I think, oh, I should read you. And then I pick up something else. But I feel very motivated because in March I read Holly, which is one of his newer releases. I believe it came out last year. And it centers around a character named Holly Gibney, and she was in the Mr. Mercedes book, which came out years ago. And she has been a reoccurring character in some of his other works, like The Outsider and If It Bleeds.
Oh,
and
okay.
she is a private detective for a company called Finders Keepers, and people are going missing, and they're trying to figure out where all of these people are going, and it's all happening on the same street. And I can't even say any more than that, but holy shit. I read the book so fast. I actually sold somebody at Chapters on getting the book too. You're welcome.
Oh, good.
And
thanks. I get nothing from it.
So
if only.
Too bad, because if they would have said like, "Oh, what's your name?" I would have been like, "Kelly." You can tell them at the cash. I just don't have my name tag on.
Yeah. I have sold many a book with my sticker on it. And do I get a penny? No.
Cheating. They're just cheating
if I were to
you out of
commission, I would be getting so much. But anyways, I appreciate the sentiment, Nikki.
Right? But yeah, so Stephen King books. And I think that's really it. If I give myself too many goals, I never complete them because I like revenge procrastinate on myself.
Yeah.
So it's just it can't be me. But do you have goals? What are your goals this year?
Well, I am an avid goal setter, but this year one of my goals was to do less of that. Because
that's good.
Yeah, so I do have a couple goals, but like, I have the Goodreads challenge goal, that's whatever. But my goal is 100 books, and right now I'm at 47. And in like previous years, I would set the Goodreads challenge, and then if I met it, I would up it. I'm not doing that. Why? That just makes me stressed when I've already accomplished it. So like, I'm not doing that. But my biggest
also
reading
like
goal...
no one gives us money for meeting our Goodreads goal, so
right?
it's like it's a personal achievement.
Seriously, it's not like Diet Bet where it's like if you lose the weight, you win a bit of the pot of money. Like, what? So, anyways, which I also have never done that, but I did sign up for that once and I didn't do it at all. I like forgot about it and then I was like, ugh, I don't care. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. You like
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, it's a website, not sponsored. Clearly because I didn't do it. So but yeah, like you can sign up for a challenge, set your goal, and then if you meet it, you get a split of the pot of money. So yeah. Just saying. Yeah. But anyways, my main reading goal is to take a look at the series that I have either like physically or that I have started and really decide, am I gonna keep going or am I gonna get rid of it? So I like so far I have abandoned at least one series, which is great, and that was the Winter Night trilogy, which I was really bummed about. That's The Bear and the Nightingale.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, because it was just like meh to me, and there was so much hype. I wanted to read it so badly, and then I read it, and I was like, I didn't love this. I don't need to force myself to read 2 more books, so I'm just gonna say thank you, but I'm moving on. It's you, not me. So, and so I abandoned that, but I've made really good progress on Throne of Glass, and I've made great progress on Truly Devious. So I have like some graphic novels behind me that I need to catch up on, like Sailor Moon, which had Atelier, which I love. But yeah, I think that's like my main thing. I have a few romances that are like, they can be standalones, but they're technically a series, So like, I have read a couple of those where I'm like, yeah, I don't need to read this anymore. One of them being Lucy Score. I just DNF'd one of her books this morning, and I'm like, wow, I have 2 others of her books. 2 other of her books, I mean. 2 more of her books. English. But I don't need to read them, because I am so let down. I am ticked off. We sold so many of her books. Her covers are so cute. Why are they like 500 plus pages? It's a romance. It's a contemporary romance, okay?
Yeah.
And now I'm just mad. I'm mad at everyone online who was like, these books are so good. The chemistry, the heat, the whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. So now I can get rid of those books. I can give them to someone who wants them because they're taking up space. So that's my main goal, is to be like, series, do I want them? Do I need them? Will I continue? Because there's way too many.
Right. Yeah.
How I
I
feel.
agree. Oh, I guess a loose goal of mine, it's not like a specific book, but I have like a lot of books here that I have not read. And so I have it right behind. I have my little cauldron, and that's all of the books that I have physically in my office that I need to read. So have I been doing it? Yes.
Yeah.
Have I also been buying more books? Yes. But I don't think as many as I've read, so that's a win.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I think that's the main goal, is some days, or not some days, some years when it comes to books, I feel like very consumerist about it and I really want things. But since I really do read primarily on my Kindle now, and I have looked at some of my purchases lately and gone, why did I need to get that? That's just a waste of money to buy, not even just with books, but just with anything. So I'm really trying to be very intentional about what I'm buying, especially when it comes to books, because if I'm going to get it on my Kindle, do I really need it on my shelf when I have all of these great books? It's just another book that's going to get lost in the pile, essentially.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see how long that lasts, but I'm trying very hard.
Yeah, I feel like I've been buying less books too so far this year, which is great in general. But like, I see what you're saying about the Kindle thing. I try not to buy ebooks because I don't know, I used to buy a lot and then I wouldn't read them because they got like lost in the digital mess of, I don't know, the internet, right? But like, as we were recording this, the new Emily Henry book comes out tomorrow. And I wanted to buy the ebook because I don't want the hardcover. I want to wait for the paperback. But the ebook is like $18.
Yeah.
So I may as well just get the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that. Unfortunately.
It's also hard. I mean, you have a Kobo. I don't have a Kobo. I only have a Kindle, and we're located in Canada. And unless you pay for or find a free United States library, you cannot get your library books put on your Kindle, because it doesn't work for Canadian libraries, because Canadian libraries are paired with Kobo, which is fine, but I don't have a Kobo. And my iPad is the 12.9-inch huge bad boy of a thing, because I do like graphic art and stuff on it. So I don't love reading on my iPad.
Yeah.
It's not a super enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
So I think I might have to get a Kobo soon.
Kobo, if you're listening, Rakuten, Heather, whoever I need to talk to, could you please sponsor us and give us a Kobo?
A colored Kobo.
Yes.
A beautiful, colorful Kobo.
Oh my God.
I would die.
Seriously, so I just checked because we have the info at work, right?
Right.
Again, not sponsored. So I feel kind of like, why should I be talking about them on here? But I wish. So it's still going to be like the e-reader ink, even though it's colored. Yeah. So it's not going to be like blaring white at you, which I'm like, oh, I want it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's, I really like too that Kobo has the option to write in the margins with the new color e-readers, because they have a pen that's coming out as well. I don't know if the pen's already out, maybe not.
They have something. Maybe it's new. I don't know.
On the Kindle colored e-readers that they announced that are coming out next year, you don't have that option.
Oh.
And also they're going to be like scribe sized, which is too big.
Scribe. How big is that?
The Kindle Scribe is like, oh, I don't
is it
know.
the ellipsa, like massive? Oh,
yeah, because
oh my
it's for like
God.
note taking and all this other stuff. But on the Kindle Scribe, you can't write in the margins of the book. You can
Okay.
just write in like the little note feature.
Hmm.
So I don't know if it's just speculation, and maybe they will change it if they're not too far into development. But I like that in Kobo you can write in the margin and you can still see it, but you can also do a note.
Yeah, and you're gonna be able to
So,
highlight in
I don't know.
color now and change the color so you can annotate it. Kobo, please sponsor us.
Right? Because,
Please.
I mean, I used to do that on my iPad. I really liked that feature of the Books app on the iPad. But yeah, it's just really hard to read on a screen like that for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
And also, like I said, my iPad is massive, so I'm not trying to get carpal tunnel over here. I need the Kindle size, the little paperweight for the basic, where I can just put on my stand with my little clicker and go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I'm putting it out in the ether. I'm going to try to manifest it for us. Please.
Oh man.
Oh
anyway,
yes.
Back to what we've been reading this year. Do you have any favorites? Like any books that you were anticipating that are a favorite, or any books that surprised you are a favorite?
Yes. So actually, I did take the time to write a few notes down because, I mean, I feel like I've read nothing, but I have read quite a bit so far. I've read 47
That's
books
how I
so far.
feel.
Right? It just like zooms by. Like, I don't even know. But so I've read 47 books so far, and I have 5-star books so far, which is pretty great. One of them is a reread. One of them is The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson. So that's number 2? 3?
Yep.
2.
I don't know.
I think it's 2. I think it's the green one. I go by the color.
I think that's the third one. The Vanishing Stair is the second one. I think.
Oh, and that's the red one.
That's the red one.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
I know the first one is Truly Devious, and it's also blue. Okay, but... So, okay, I liked that one a lot. Bride by Allie Hazelwood. That was like one of my most anticipated releases of this year. I read it the day it came out. I gave it, I think, like a 4.5, but it's probably a 5, honestly, because I had so much fun. I couldn't put it down. And so that met my expectations. I was so excited.
Awesome.
I also recently read Wild Love by Elsie Silver, which I didn't think I was going to read, period. But my coworker was like, you got to read this. It was so much fun. And it was so good. Like, I think I gave it a 4.5, and now I have a new author to check out. So I'm like, cool. And she's Canadian, so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Love that.
But I feel like I'm waiting on a lot of books to come out, because I think a lot of them are in like the second half of the year. Like, I really want to read the next India Holton book. She writes... Can I reach it from here? No. She writes like Victorian era romances sometimes, but they're like whimsical. It's like what is it? The League of Gentlewomen Witches and the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. Like, they're fun romance, like little fantastical elements too. So I really like her stuff. So she has a new book coming out that I want to read.
Nice.
There's a new Sangu Mandana book coming out. She wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which was so good. I think you would really love it. It's like super cozy. It's like found family ensemble book.
Oh, nice.
I can't wait. She's got another one coming out. So yeah, I have books coming out like in the summer or fall, I feel like, that I really want to read, but so far it's been kind of quiet. Like, I don't know, in terms of new books. Like, I did read the new Tessa Bailey. Hated it. Fangirl down. So you'll have to let me know what you think. Yeah, we're gonna do like a special sports romance episode later on, so we'll talk more about that book later. But yeah,
I mean,
that's
I'm sure if you didn't like it, I'm gonna absolutely fucking loathe it, but
you're gonna hate it. I hated it, so you're gonna be like, what is this garbage? So what about you?
Well, I mean, I guess for surprising 5-star reads, so I started off the year, I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Phenomenal. And then I went on to read Home Before Dark, which scared the pants off of me. Haunted house things are where like my trigger button lies, I think.
Oh God.
I don't know what it is, but like the paranormal ghost, you're walking down the hall and you feel something behind you, that just gets me every time. I had to make my boyfriend get up with me in the night to go to the bathroom because I was scared. So
I've definitely done
and
that
our
before.
the bathroom
Not with
is
Bryce.
not far. He would do it for you too. Don't worry.
He would. He's sweet. Yeah.
But yeah, so those books, and then I read a couple more from him, and then I wasn't surprised anymore that they were really good because I had such a good time with the first few. And I mean, Holly, 5-star read. It was phenomenal. I read it in 2 days, couldn't put the thing down. And I
Wait.
was
Sorry, did that come out this year?
No, came out last year.
Okay.
I believe
you
last year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
And
what? Okay.
yeah, 5-star read, couldn't put it down. I will recommend it to everybody who wants a detective fiction, who loves horror, because even though it was detective fiction, it was scarier than detective fiction because Stephen King.
Now I have a question.
Yeah.
So, sorry to interrupt. Do you have to read the other books that she's in to read Holly and enjoy it?
No.
Okay. Okay.
There was only one thing in the book where I was like, what's going on? Is you hear about her, there's like a freelance detective that works with them sometime named Jerome, and you hear about his sister Barbara. And the way he was talking about them, I was like, I feel like I'm missing something. They were in other books too with her, but I picked it up. It was fine. Like the first couple times they mentioned them, I was like, who are these people? But then you get enough information that you don't need to know what happened in the past books.
Okay.
So no, you don't need to read anything else. She was like very minor in the other books. But I just love it. I wish I could read it for the first time all over again. That's how much I loved it. And I am not going to stay on this for long because I don't want to give them airtime, but I have to say I read the remaining 3 Robert Galbraith books and I did really enjoy them, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And I didn't buy them because I will not give her money.
Boom.
But we're talking about what we read and what we liked, so
yeah. So there. I did I took because we were talking about this before we started to record. We use Goodreads, but I have Storygraph mainly for stats because I'm curious about like what is going on here. My average rating so far is 3.66. So like okay,
could be
I would
worse.
rather it be higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have read a lot of mid books so far. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of that I think is like me getting through books that I own that I've been staring at for a while thinking I should just give it a go. So on the plus side, at least it's like I'm going to clear out room for better things that I want to keep long term.
Right.
Hopefully. But then it's just like a bummer, you know? Like I want to be reading 5 stars all the time if possible.
I know.
You know? So
they're few and far between.
Yeah.
And I'm finding like I'm trying really hard to be more, not critical necessarily, but just really think more in depth about what I'm rating things. Because I will look back at past years and I'm like, why did I give that a 5 star? Like just because I read it fast or whatever. Like I'm trying to discern within myself, what is a 5-star? Is it only books that, like, I feel the way I felt about Holly, where I read it so fast and I was so enraptured? Or is a 5-star book any book that I was just like, oh, that was really fun, and I, like, read it in a few days? What is the feeling that is giving me the 5-starredness?
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard because a scale of 1 to 5 is not a very large scale to put, like, so many different kinds of things on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well.
I think for me, sorry, I had a thought earlier, that's why I went, oh, in case it's still in there, but I'll tell you after. I think for me, a 5-star, like, sometimes it's because I feel like, oh my god, this book moved me, like, the way it was written was so beautiful, or, like, almost perfection, whatever. And then sometimes a 5-star is like, yeah, I could not put this down, I had so much fun, the vibes were there, like, I think it just depends for me, like, but I totally get what you're saying. Like, it is hard to pinpoint. And also, yeah, you do look back sometimes and you're like, what? Was that a
Yeah.
5? Especially as you grow as a reader. Like,
Yeah.
this is what I think with that Lucy Score book I read, because a lot of people on my Goodreads gave it high marks or high rating. And it was years ago. And I'm like, did you just start reading? Did you just start reading romance? Because I didn't like this at all. Like, what?
Right.
What am I missing, you know? I don't know.
Well, that could be it, exactly. That they just, if you read it when you're new, and it's something that, like, sparks your interest into a genre or something, then, I mean, at that time, then it's enough to rate it high. But
yeah,
it's hard to trust people.
Yeah, I feel betrayed almost by some people on there, because I'm like, usually I agree with your opinions. And so I was reading this and I'm like, this is really boring. I don't understand it. Like, the banter sucks. And they're supposed to be like 39 and 44. And they're talking and behaving like 18-year-olds. And I'm like,
oh, that's cringy.
This is by a thread, I should mention, by Lucy Score. Didn't like it. But I did just read a book today that I think you will really like. 2 books. 2 middle grade graphic novels.
Nice.
And they've been on my list for a long time. So I read it through Libby. And it is The Witch Boy and The Hidden Witch are 1 and 2 by Molly Knox Ostertag or Ostertag. It's so good. The first book is about a boy who all boys learn, like, shifter magic and all the girls learn witchery. And he doesn't want to be a shifter. And he doesn't feel connected to that, but he feels connected to witchery. And so it's kind of about, like, you know, finding your identity and all this stuff. And it's so good. It's so good. So I think you'd like it. It's, like, cozy, fun, short read.
Yeah, I've been really into graphic novels the last couple years. I read this year Garlic and the Witch and Garlic and the Vampire, and those were just the sweetest little books ever. Yeah. I read another really fun one, Hollow, which is about, like, Sleepy Hollow. And there's a girl, and she's in high school, and she is, like, from the Van Tassel line. And another girl comes to the school, and she is Crane. And it's around Halloween, and they have this kind of, like, sweet little romance, but also there's the Headless Horseman around and stuff. So fun. So fun.
I love that. I love graphic novels. They're just, you know, they're fun. And sometimes they're more than fun. Sometimes they're like, they crush your soul. You know, there's just so many to choose from. Yeah. They're great. I feel like they don't get enough airtime. They don't get a good rap sometimes because people are like, it's not reading. It is reading.
It is reading.
Yeah.
There are words on that page.
Yeah, but also it's reading the pictures and getting meaning from it, you know? Have you ever read a graphic novel where you were like, what the hell is this picture trying to tell me? Because it just wasn't conveyed well enough? Because I definitely have. Like, and that affects the whole book. Because you have to be a good storyteller, whether it's through your pictures or the writing or both. Like,
yeah. I don't know that I have, but I do have to admit, I don't really spend a lot of time looking at the pictures. I read graphic novels very quickly because I'm just like I do a glance
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who's like on each page looking at in depth at things. I don't care that much. I'm like, this is fun, very pretty.
Yeah.
And then I'm done.
I guess, like, I don't remember what the one I read was called where I didn't understand it, but like there were like huge sections where there was barely any writing. And I was like,
Okay.
what? So like the pictures that they had drawn for that section, I was like, literally what just happened?
Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe it's just me, but I was like, what? Because I'm the same way. I don't like pick apart each picture, but
Right.
yeah, I was like, what is happening? So, you know, it is reading.
So there.
Yeah. Because we talked about some of our highlights. Is there any book so far this year that you're like, oh my god, I wish I didn't read this? Or have you DNF'd anything yet?
Well, I DNF'd The Pale Horse. I
Oh, yes.
don't know if I DNF'd anything else, but I feel like, okay, one graphic novel was Snow Glass Apples, which is by Neil Gaiman.
Oh, yeah.
It was whack as like,
oh, shoot.
So, I mean, it only took me like an hour or so to read, but it was just like this really pornographically weird version of Snow White that I feel like no one asked for.
And this wasn't like the Anne Rice thing?
No.
Oh my god. Okay, wow.
It was weird.
Wow.
So that, just because I'd love to just erase the memory from my brain entirely. And
I'm gonna read it
Love
just
in
so I
the
know what
Time
you're
of
talking
Serial
about.
Killers. Yeah. And The Art of Catching Feelings.
Which we'll be talking about in an upcoming episode. Okay.
Yes. Yes. So look forward to that. We have lots of opinions and thoughts. But yeah, I don't know. But I think really for reading like 31 books, only having 3 books that I'm like, and only one that I'm like really condemning. The other 2 were just like, they just weren't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. What about you? What are some books that you read this year? You've read 47, so you probably have a list of a few that you were like, well, I didn't have to waste my time on that.
Yeah, so I guess we'll already talked about Never Lie. That's the Frida McFadden? Yeah. But I did DNF By a Thread by Lucy Score at 62% because I was just like, why did I waste 3 days on this? I'm so mad at myself and everybody else who's around me. How dare you? But I did I'm going to call it a soft DNF on The Catch by Amy Leah, which I was really, really upset about. And I say soft DNF because I stopped reading it at 70 something percent and then I skimmed to the end because it was so boring. And I loved her other book, X's and O's. And she's a Canadian author. This book was set in Nova Scotia, which is like nearby where we are. And so I thought this will be so cute, nice summer read. And it was so boring. There was no chemistry. It felt very much like we're in Canada. We like to fish out on the East Coast. We like poutine, not poutine, poutine. Like, just very, oh, we're going to buy you some Timbits. They're not donut holes. Like, it was so, like, tell me everything that you must include in a Canadian content thing. Everything that was music that was playing was Canadian musicians, everything. I just felt so annoyed. I was like, I get it, but could you have just like written a book that was set in Canada like Elsie Silver did in Wild Love and not have it be like, we're in Canada. Oh my god, it's so quaint. You have free healthcare. They had that in there too. Like, it was just, and she's Canadian. It was just, I was so disappointed. So I think that's one of my most disappointing things so far.
I mean, just to say a little thing off of that, which doesn't have anything to do with this episode.
Sure.
Authors who are Canadian that feel they can only write about being in Canada bother the crap out of me.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I read a lot of Kelly Armstrong, and she writes most of her books in Canada, but it feels like how Stephen King writes most of his books in Maine. It's still, like, the setting of a book. It's not like, I am trying to single-handedly show everybody why this is the best province in the universe or whatever. Like, ugh, it just makes me cringe.
Yeah.
Cringe, I tell you.
I agree. Because, again, the most recent thing I've read where it was in Canada, Wild Love, it was in BC, but it felt like it was just in a mountain town.
Right.
And it was a part of the story because that's where they were.
Right.
It wasn't like, I must tell you about Canada and I must, like, make us seem quaint and cute. And one of the lines was like, we're not all polite, or not every Canadian's polite because this guy's a grump. Like,
ew.
Of course we're not all polite. I've met so many bitches and assholes here, okay? Like, they're everywhere.
Yeah, you're from
they're in
Ontario.
every country. Yes! Home, born, and bred, okay? Like, I don't know. I just feel... I'm annoyed because, whatever, I don't mean this in a mean way, but I just need to say it the way it's in my brain, okay? She wrote this book as a Canadian author for Americans to be like, look at Canada. Isn't Nova Scotia quaint? Come out here for vacation. But, like, she's from Toronto, I think. I don't know if she's been in Nova Scotia. I honestly can't tell from the way she wrote this book because it felt like PEI. And there's nothing wrong with Prince Edward Island or Nova Scotia. Love them both. They're great. You should go visit both. Why not? If you can. But it was just so cheesy and corny and not real.
Well, I think, too, people who are Canadian but aren't from the Maritimes have a stereotype of the Maritimes.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Like, somebody who has spent a good amount of time here isn't going to be like, oh, yeah, hey, buddy, we got our Tim Hortons, and how about that? And, like, it's not like that. No. It's very normal.
Yeah.
Except, like, we don't have to wait in rush hour traffic for, like, an hour and a half to get to work.
No, but you do have to wait in the drive-thru line sometimes for an hour and a half, so that's one thing.
Yeah, because Tim Hortons is fucking slow here. Just putting it out there.
Everything is. But as someone who's not from the East Coast, who's been here for, like, over 5 years, I want to say it's like 8 years now or something, like, the one thing I noticed was just, like, some people's accents were, like, a little bit different, but not in the way that you were doing, like, the stereotypical. It's just like, oh, you have some different, like, slang words. Okay, like, whatever, but, like, no, it's not like that. Just gonna say. And I would like to think I'm not like the stereotypical Ontario jerk.
No. You're from a small town in Ontario. I think that makes a big difference.
Right? Yeah. People from Toronto, but someone when I first moved here said to me, okay, Toronto, and I was offended. I was like, how dare you? Because they're trying to tell me, oh, you think you're so cool? I was like, no, I don't think I'm cool at all. Are you kidding me? I hate Toronto. I'm an Ottawa girl, you know?
I had a guy, so I went to school in Ontario, and I had this one guy at the cafeteria that my friends and I would go to, and sometimes I would get a poutine. And I would say, can I get a poutine? And he was like, what's that? And he's like flirty joking with me, but it just made me so angry. He's like, a poutine? It's a poutine. And I'm like, it's not. Yeah. And the fact that you keep correcting me about it is just so ignorant because it's not even an English word. So just get over the fact that you obviously say it wrong and just stop hounding me about it. I'm not, every time someone says a poutine, I don't go, you have to say it like poutine. I don't do that. You live your life. Yeah. But I'm just saying, don't correct me when I'm the one who's right.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Also, find a better way to flirt, because you clearly suck at it, dude. Right? You're wrong. Wow. I fell in love with him instantly. Said no one ever. That just
makes me want to go on a date real bad.
Right?
Makes me want a hot dog real bad.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, to end on a positive note, is there anything that you're dying to read before the year's up? It could be a new book. It could be one you already own. Let me know.
Yes, it came out this year. Empire of the Damned, which is the sequel to Empire of the Vampire. I loved that book so much, and I am so excited for the second one, even though I know the first one was very long, but I loved it, and I was actually low-key disappointed that the second one was not as big as the first one.
Oh,
because
wow,
I was just like, I want all of the info. I want all of the things. I'm sure he's giving us whatever we need, because obviously the book is done and published, but I just feel in my soul like I want more. And I haven't even read it yet.
Is it a duology or a trilogy, or like, do you know?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, okay. So you could be getting more bigger books.
Maybe. I'd be okay with that. But yeah, so Empire of the Damned, I'm really, really looking forward to reading.
Okay.
What about you? I know you talked about a few new releases, but is there anything else?
Yes.
Like just a book you already have?
Well, so many books that I have. But you know what? I think one of the books that I really want to get to is sorry, I'm like taking a look. I'm like, what? Yeah, actually, I thought about it. I know what I want to read. I really want to try to finish the Poppy War this year, like the trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is. It's not her, it's definitely me. I feel so intimidated by R.F. Kuang at all times, even though everything I've read by her I've loved and I have just like eaten up. But I'm still like, I'm always so scared to start one of her books. I don't know what it is.
Right.
Because she's just great. Like everything I've read by her I've loved. So I think this is the year where I just say, Kelly, put on your big girl pants and just read the rest of the trilogy, because I loved the Poppy War. I just need to finish it. I need to do it. So that's my goal.
I think I have to reread the Poppy War before I can continue the series. I mean, I read the whole thing in 28 hours. So
yeah,
I need a refresh.
I'm just going to listen to our very detailed synopsis from our episode.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it.
When we used to do that. Crazy.
Yes. Yeah. Too much work. Look it up. Thank you so much for joining us today for our first episode back here on BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. If you want to stay up to date on all things bookish on or off the air, you can follow us on Instagram at BYO Book Podcast or on TikTok at Bring Your Own Book. And remember, you don't have to finish the book if you hate it. You can DNF it. So, until next time, see ya!
See ya!